Hello guys, and welcome to Dreamy Minds, where the earth breathes in silence. Beneath your feet, there is a world that moves more slowly than breath, a realm of patience, of stone, of ancient sleep. We often think of the ground as something still, unchanging, solid, unshakable. But the truth is quieter than that. Stone remembers. Earth exhales. Rocks stretch across time like lullabies written by gravity, in a language older than language. Tonight, let us lie down inside that silence. Let the heavy hush of geology wrap softly around your thoughts. Because the earth, beautiful listener, the earth is not just where we live, it is how we breathe. Its crust a cradle, its layers a lullaby of pressure, patience and time. There are cliffs that once slept under seafoam kisses, mountains born where ancient oceans gave their last sigh, minerals that form only when the universe slows down enough to dream. And you are made of that same dust, same stardust, same silence. Your bones borrow calcium from oceans long dried. Your heart traces rhythms written by shifting plates. So tonight, sink into stillness. Let the rustle of your thoughts settle like sediments in quiet water. Geology is not loud. It is legacy. Stone teaches us that the deepest truths unfold not with speed, but with surrender. And as we wander through the sleepscape of Earth's most relaxing stories, you may find, nestled between tectonic sighs and crystalline dreams, a strange and peaceful truth, that you are ancient too, and safe, and whole, exactly as you are, somewhere under night's quilt of stars, far away from the rush of thought and time. The mountains are still breathing, not with the rhythm of lungs or the pulse we know, but with something slower, something deeper, an exhale older than memory, an inhale that takes an entire age to occur. If you lie still enough, you might begin to feel it too. The slow rising of the earth, the quiet lift of continents, folding, stretching skyward like the gentle lifting of ancient hands. This is not a story with sudden turns or dramatic arrivals. No. This is the story of stillness, of the slow-moving cathedral we call mountain, a monument not to speed, but to patience. Slide down into stillness now. Let your breathing grow slow, your thoughts soft and distant, as though you were a stone settling into the soil after centuries afloat. There is no rush here. You are entering geological time, time that counts not minutes, but millennia. Mountains begin in silence, not in roaring explosions or storming skies, but in the deep murmur of shifting plates. The Earth's skin, floating on molten breath, rides quietly on currents of heat and pressure. We call them tectonic plates, vast slabs of crust that move like continents on slow rivers of magma. The pace is barely perceptible to those who live in years, perhaps an inch or so each season. But across deep time, millions of years, those inches become oceans crossed, continents collided, and mountains unfolded from the sea floor, pressing themselves upward, reaching like old bones waking from a dream. The Himalayas, for example, still rise today, not fast, not loud, just a few millimeters each year, almost unnoticed, but always upward. There is something sacred about that kind of persistence, how the collision between the Indian and Eurasian plates, millions of years ago, still sends ripples of change through the bones of the earth, on and on, even now. And those immense peaks, Everest, Annapurna, K2, aren't finished yet. They are still in the act of becoming. Isn't that comforting, to think that even the tallest things are still growing? Maybe you felt something similar before, that sensation of becoming something, even when it's not visible. A sense that somewhere in the deep crust of your being, Shifting is happening. Invisible, quiet, slow. You can't always explain it. You can't measure it by the clock. But there's a part of you rising, just like the mountains, even when your surface feels still, unmoving, tired. Deep within you, unseen streams keep flowing. The earth, too, hides its motion well, but inside, it's constantly at work, realigning, expanding, letting go. And that's okay. It's normal to feel like change takes forever, to feel like healing has paused. But some forms of progress do not scream their arrival. They unfold silently, like a rock tilting under ages of pressure. Transformation isn't always obvious, but that doesn't mean it isn't happening. The Alps, the Andes, the Rockies, all carry stories written slowly into stone. Folded layers of sediment pushed upward, crumbling fault lines laced like threadwork through their spines, ripples of time frozen in elevation. A mountain's face is a memoir of being pressed, of being lifted, of waiting through eons for the sky to arrive. In the same way, you too are layered, formed by both pressure and beauty, winds of experience, waters of change, and inner forces no one else can see. Sometimes it takes immense time to see the shape your life is becoming, but just like the earth, you are always becoming. Let's close our eyes a little deeper now. Imagine standing on a quiet ridge, nothing but soft wind and folded stone around you. The ground beneath your feet is older than birdsong, older than bone, and yet it still moves, ever so slightly. That ridge you stand on may once have been the floor of an ancient sea filled with ammonites and glowing jellyfish. Time turned shells into limestone, and pressure turned soft mud into firm sandstone. Eons passed. Then two continents met, and the ground beneath the sea lifted itself, slowly, slowly, into sky. Where once there was water, now there is air. That is the quiet gift of tectonic change. It turns the lowest places into the highest ones, given enough time. So if you've ever felt buried, if your heart has felt like the floor of some deep, forgotten ocean, you're not alone. Even the earth has felt low. But low doesn't last. It becomes something else, something higher, stronger, more illuminated by stars. Everything rises in time. And do you know where the oldest mountains are? The Appalachian Mountains, in the eastern part of North America, once stood as tall as the Himalayas. Over 480 million years old, they've been worn down by wind, whittled by rain, humbled by time. But that does not make them less beautiful. It makes them wise. Their curves are softer now, rounded, eroded into gentle lines of green mist, like a face that has smiled too many times to remember. Healing, too, softens us, not to weaken, but to round out the sharp edges we no longer need. So whether you are in the rising phase of Everest, or the ancient, softened calm of the Appalachians, you are still a mountain, and you are still sacred. Sometimes, growth is a mountain reaching. Other times, it is a mountain waiting. And you, dear listener, are allowed to wait. You are allowed to rise slowly, like grief becoming understanding, like coal pressed into diamond, like land climbing toward sky. Even when the winds howl around you, remember this truth held in stone. You are not broken. You are still forming, still finding the shape your life wants to take. Progress is not a straight line. It is a range, peaks and ridgelines, some steep, some nearly flat, but all part of the same ancient story, the story of becoming. So let the weight of the day drift down, like sediment in slow, still water. Let your breath slow with the mountain's forever rhythm. Let your heart remember, you are in no hurry. Mountains are not born in days, and neither is peace. Wholeness, like stone, takes the patience of time. So rest. Lie back upon whatever ground holds you now. You are not falling behind. You are simply in the middle of becoming. And just like the earth, your stillness is movement. It just happens, quietly, with the softness of stone and the patience of mountains. Let the sleep come gently now. Nothing more is needed from you. The world will keep turning, the slopes will keep rising, and you, soft-footed dreamer, are resting exactly as you should. Let your breath slow now, like wind drifting across an unseen dune. You are safe here, in the hush of time. And this story begins with something so small, so ordinary, you might never have noticed: sand. A grain of sand is a soft whisper from an ancient world. It is the memory of something once mighty, perhaps the peak of a great mountain, once touched by thunder and kissed by snow. Now, smoothed into quietness. A fragment, a remnant, a poem written in mineral and motion, and though it may feel small in your hand, do not mistake it for forgettable. Because each fleck of sand has lived a life. Each speck, a survivor of stone's slow surrender. What once stood tall now lies still, not lost, but transformed. Let that settle in your chest for a moment. How even the most powerful things we know can let go, and in doing so, become something new, something soft, something free. Sand is made not by force, but by time. We think of change as something sudden, but the earth tells a different story. Mountains do not collapse in on themselves in protest. They slowly offer themselves to wind and water, to sunlight, to root and frost. Their strength is not in resisting, but in being willing to change form, to become part of the stream, to flow with gravity, to dissolve slowly into the story of the land. This is erosion, not destruction, but reformation. Close your eyes if you wish, and imagine a stone resting high on a mountain peak, maybe granite, maybe basalt, born from ancient lava, cooled slowly beneath forgotten volcanoes. Firm, immovable, proud in its silence. Seasons pass, then centuries, and then a gentle rainfall, just water. And yet, everything begins here. Water doesn't need to crush or shatter. It simply shows up, again and again and again. Raindrops slip into tiny cracks. Cool nights come, and so does frost. As water freezes, it expands, pressing against the edges of that proud stone gently, again and again, until a flake breaks free, not from force, but from persistence, from presence, from patience. This is called mechanical weathering in science. But we won't call it that tonight. Tonight we'll call it surrender. A quiet surrender of form, without losing essence. Because the minerals inside remain. The story remains, even in pieces, especially in pieces. These broken parts begin a journey, falling downhill with wind, slipping into creeks, caught in the arms of rivers, moved not by will, but by the direction of flow. And in that motion, they begin to soften. Edges wear down. Shapes change. Some parts are ground so finely. They become silk-soft silt, delicate enough to drift through estuaries, and wait for the sea to receive them. Others form the beaches you've walked on, sun-warmed, shell-dappled, waves brushing their surfaces like lullabies. And then there is chemical weathering, a slower, quieter process. In the soil and air float particles of carbon dioxide. Mixed with rain, they become carbonic acid, a weak, gentle solution. Like a thought you can't quite shake, this subtle liquid touches the minerals, and instead of breaking them, it changes them. Softens feldspar into clay, translates granite down into gentler names. Each reaction a shift in identity, a negotiation of form, a literal chemical rewrite of what it means to be rock. And still nothing is destroyed here, only rewritten. This is how landscapes change. They yield rather than fall. They open rather than resist. Erosion in this way is less a tragedy and more an invitation to transition. Even Earth's mightiest features are shaped this way, not by rage, but by relinquishment. Isn't there a kind of peace in that? To know you don't have to fight everything to stay whole. Sometimes, softening is the beginning of becoming more fully yourself. People change this way too. Maybe tonight you are tired, weathered, feeling smaller in form than you once were. But small does not mean less. Worn does not mean worthless. Fragmented does not mean forgotten. You, like sand, carry the memory of what came before. And if you've been softened by life, by grief or love, loss or longing, you are not broken, you are becoming something new. There are parts of you still rearranging. Moments that cracked something open. A sentence someone said years ago that slipped into a seam in your heart like rain and found a way in. Time passed, and things began to loosen. You grew from that, even if you didn't see it. Not in a dramatic way, but gently, quietly, like minerals realigning, like stone meeting stream. Many people believe that sand is simply the result of broken things, but more beautifully, it is the result of motion and endurance. It is what happens when something refuses to disappear, even after being reshaped 1,000 times. Some grains of sand are over 300 million years old, and yet here they are, sliding beneath your bare feet on a summer shore, sparkling in the shallows, or slipping through the neck of an hourglass, tracking time with tiny, poetic precision. And did you know, sand has a memory of everywhere it's been. Geologists can read the mineral makeup and tell where it came from, what it used to be, how long it traveled, and through which waters it passed. Some sands are made of quartz, glassy and clear pieces of mountain hearts. Others are full of crushed coral, polished by waves, revealing stories of reef and tide. Even desert sands whisper ancient secrets. They tell tales of lakes that once were, winds that wandered across wide continents, dunes that danced with sunlight over lifetimes. Nothing is untouched, but nothing is truly lost. So if your life feels like it is changing shape, if you feel scattered or adrift like dust on wind, you are still here, carrying your story. Every thought you've let go of, every belief you've shed, every identity you used to hold like stone, none of it disappears. It simply wears smooth and becomes part of the ocean floor you now walk on. Softness is not weakness. It is responsiveness. It is grace. Consider this: quartz is one of the hardest minerals on Earth, and yet it breaks into pieces, a kind of open vulnerability, and becomes sand. Still quartz, still strong, just different in form. Closer to the tide now, easier to move, able to shimmer, and you, dear listener, are allowed to shimmer too. You do not have to hold your shape forever. Not everything worth keeping must stay hard. The most resilient things are the ones that change form and still remain true. Maybe tonight, that's all you need to know. That it's okay to soften, to shift, to release. Nothing is wasted in nature's design. Even the broken becomes part of the beautiful. Let yourself slip toward rest now. Imagine waves, warm and slow, brushing over a sandbar shaped by centuries, each ripple sculpting, each motion leaving behind peace. You are not being erased. You are being rewritten into something wiser, something quieter, something open to light. So rest, sand heart, mountain-born soul. Let yourself remember that small does not mean weak, soft does not mean fragile, and being moved by life is not the same as being lost. You are simply learning how to surrender, like wind over dune, like stream over stone, like sunlight casting shadows on a shore made of 1,000,000 stories. You are still here, and you are becoming beautifully weathered. Let the tide lull you now. Let your worries settle like silt in a calm riverbed, and tomorrow, if the winds move you again, they will only reveal more of what you've always held, more of the mountain that became the sand, more of the memory that became you. Now, take a moment to settle in. Let gravity hold you like an anchor in warm water. Let your breath slow, like a wave preparing to return to the sea. And listen closely now, dear traveler of thoughts. Beneath you, far beneath your feet, beyond forests and soils, beyond stone and fossil and sediment sleep, there is something moving, something ancient, something warm, a quiet stirring underneath the stillness of the world. We walk across what appears to be solid ground, sidewalks, sand, wooden floors warmed by morning sun. We trust it beneath our feet with every step we take. We build homes, make promises, hold hands on balconies, all on the assumption that the earth is still. And yet, it is not still. It has never been still. It simply moves in rhythms too slow for the eye and pulses too deep for the ear. Welcome to the world beneath the world, the cradle beneath the crust. Imagine the earth as a great nesting doll, each layer wrapped around a deeper secret. What we call the crust, this land we till and walk and bury seeds into, is just the thinnest shell, no thicker than a coat of paint on a spinning globe. Beneath that shell is the mantle, a thick ocean of slow-moving rock, not liquid, not truly solid, but something in between, a viscous dream, rock softened by pressure and heat, flowing like honey in slow motion. And deeper still, at the very heart of it all, lies the core, a bright burning iron heart, spinning silently beneath layers of silence. We rarely think of this heat, this motion, but every part of our world depends on it. The ground grows trees, because the inner earth still breathes. Let yourself drift now, gently downward, as if your spirit could float into the earth's layers, like a feather descending through rooms of warmth and memory. You pass through oceans fossilized into stone, through caverns not yet touched by humans, through sleeping faults and folded granite. And then you reach the mantle, and oh, how alive it feels, this underworld of motion. It doesn't roar, it hums. A lullaby in frequencies your body once remembered, because somewhere in your blood and bones you are made from the same minerals, baked by the same fires. Every element in us once passed through Earth's warm interior, melted and remade. In darkness, far below any map, beneath all appearances, life simmers. The mantle moves in churning cycles called convection currents. Hot rock rising, cooler rock sinking, lifted by inner heat, revolving through time. Like a slow dancing whirlpool of stone and flame, these subtle rivers move the very continents we live upon. They carry the weight of mountains. They pull the seabeds across the world like curtains of crust. These are not violent motions. They are purposeful, slow beyond belief, and yet unstoppable, even now. As you rest, as night folds around your thoughts, this motion continues. The planet dances, and we sleep on its shoulders. And just like the earth, you too have a mantle, a middle space, a place where emotion, experience, and memory mix and churn. We don't always show this stirring. From the outside, we may appear calm, composed, flat as geology's crust. But within we are still boiling with feeling, even if it's cooled at the surface. We are volcanoes after the ash falls. We are islands sleeping above flame. There is so much happening beneath your skin. Chemical poetry, electric tides of emotion, old memories rising like heat plumes, new neural pathways slowly forming. Not visible, but very real. And just like Earth's mantle, you are not chaos. You are continuous change. You are not broken. You're just alive. Sometimes that internal motion becomes too much to hold. The pressure builds. In the Earth, when that happens, something shifts. A break, a release, an earthquake. Suddenly the ground moves, a fault line slips, a plateau cracks open, not to destroy, but to readjust, to realign the crust with the forces rising from within. This is how the planet relieves stress. And so do we. We tremble. We release. We cry, we scream, we sleep for 14 hours. We pull away from what wounds us. We question who we once were. We ask for help. All of these are earthquakes of the soul. And they are necessary. Because you cannot carry everything forever. Not even the Earth can do that. And when enough tension has built, when magma finds its moment, we witness a volcano. The surface cracks, not from anger, but from holding too much for too long. Inside, the molten rock, called magma, rises, not with rage, but with readiness. It seeks release. It seeks expression. It pours out. And the world changes. Yes, it may look terrifying, but it is also where new land is born. Islands rise from fire. Soil rich with minerals spills into future fertility. Volcanoes renew the earth. And in their mirror, we see our own eruptions not as failures, but as beginnings. Sometimes what spills out of you, painfully, uncontrollably, becomes the ground for something wondrous to grow. Let go, now, of the story that says you must always be calm. To be worthy, let go of the belief that being put together means being whole. The earth is not ashamed of its rumblings. Why should you be? Shake when you must. Release the pressure built in the chambers of your chest. If you felt shaky lately, emotionally, physically, know this: your system is self-correcting, not collapsing. You are adjusting to inner heat. You are realigning the surface with what you carry beneath. This is not destruction. It is transformation. And what of the core? The deep center of Earth. A ball of iron and nickel, spinning deep in the dark, solid, yet surrounded by a liquid outer core that flows with electromagnetic motion. This is where our planet's magnetic field is born. This is the compass of the Earth, the invisible guardian that shields us from solar winds and cosmic storms. Imagine that for a moment. Even in the darkest place, something powerful is protecting us, not by force, but by constant movement, by turning. The core is unseen but central. It does not need to be visible to matter profoundly, just like your center, your values, your essence, your deep self. Even when no one else sees it, it guides everything. It aligns your north. And when you are lost, you can find your way again by remembering what lives there, what matters, what grounds you, what pulls your compass gently back to truth. That, too, is your molten center. So inhale slowly now. Picture this: you, lying on a planet that is moving piece by piece, inch by ancient inch, becoming more of itself. With every turn, you are resting not on stillness, but on symphony, on lifting layers, on floating plates, on fire that remembers how to burn clean. And you are allowed to shift. You are allowed to feel things rising from deep down. You are allowed to release. You are allowed to begin again, from magma, from memory, from the middle of yourself. Like the Earth, you don't owe anyone stillness. You can change from the inside out. You can burn clean and grow new lands from that. If the surface shakes, let it. If the pressure builds, notice it. When you must erupt, do so gently if you can. But do not fear what rises. You come from the same heat that fuels stars. You were made to survive in a fire. And all your cracks, they simply make you more open to the light. Rest now on the cradle beneath you. Let gravity hold you close. Let the layers of earth support you like a blanket folded in stone. Let the old fires simmer on. Safe beneath your sleep, you are steady. Even when you shake, you are becoming. Even when you break, you are whole. Not because nothing moves, but because all of it moves together. The earth has never stopped spinning, and neither have you. Even in rest, you are alive and turning. Good night, core-born wonder. Sleep gently above the center that holds you. Below the crust, the mantle breathes, so you don't have to, and everything is exactly as it needs to be. Settle in, dear heart. Let your body drift as if resting, on the tide of something older than time. Let gravity cradle you, and your thoughts begin to settle, like small particles in quiet water. Tonight, we drift through stories, hidden in the bones of the earth. Stories you've walked atop your whole life, without ever knowing what slept just beneath. Stories told in layers. Because some rocks, despite what we assume, were once not rock at all. Some rocks were once water, and some deserts, vast, sun-bleached and dry. Remember the touch of ancient seas. Imagine that somewhere beneath the crusted red of a canyon wall, beneath the dusty hush of a sunlit bluff, there's a memory of coral reefs, of silvery fish flickering, of salt carried by warm wind. Sedimentary stone is the earth's dreaming memory. It is not forged by fire, not born in volcanic violence. It is formed, instead, by the long, slow process of accumulation, of letting go, of allowing the softest parts of the world to settle downward and become structure. Let your mind drift, soft as silt, light as sea foam. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine an ancient sea. The year is not measured in centuries, but in epochs. Above the surface, light scatters, silent and golden. Below, beyond sight, a gentle rain of dust and life falls. Tiny microscopic organisms, a snowstorm of plankton. Shell fragments, bits of calcium and life too small to name. These specks drift downward for hundreds of meters, falling endlessly through blue-green silence. Not alone, not in haste, but as part of something eternal. And when they reach the bottom, they rest, layer upon layer, day after day, century after century. Some layers are light, some dark, some rich with the remains of ancient marine life, the chalky ghosts of shells once caught in ocean currents. Slowly, softly, they compress. Weight bears down. Time becomes pressure, and soon what was once just drifting becomes form, becomes rock. This is the quiet magic of sedimentation, of turning water and whatever it carries into something that will one day rise. As cliffs and canyon walls, sedimentary rock is built, one particle at a time. Not from eruption, not from impact, but from patience. And maybe that gives us permission to heal the way the earth does, slowly, layer by layer. Soft things settle deep. There are 3 kinds of rock in the world, and sedimentary rock is the one that listens. It listens to what falls, it catches, it holds, and it remembers. It might surprise you to know, most of the rock we find near the surface of the earth is sedimentary. Though it makes up only a small part of the earth's volume, it covers vast portions of the land we call home. Our riverbeds, our cliffs, our canyons, pale and golden. They are not lifeless. They are archives. Feel that for a moment. That the beach sand between your toes might come from ancient crustaceans. That the limestone in a cave may hold the record of a sea that long ago covered the desert. That your favorite hiking trail might sink slightly. As your footsteps press into layers, not just of stone, but of stories, pressed flat by time. Some of these rocks were once coral reefs, buzzing ecosystems vibrant with life. When these marine structures die, they settle. Sometimes they turn into limestone, a pale, chalky layer made mostly of calcium carbonate, the crushed remains of life lived long ago. We call these formations carbonate rocks in science, but here, let's call them what they truly are. The silence of memory turned solid. For example, the white cliffs of Dover in England, haunting and tall like frozen tides, are entirely made of the accumulated shells of tiny creatures, called coccolithophores, microscopic plankton, whose skeletons rained down on the ocean floor for 70 million years. Imagine that drift, millions of years, of falling gently, and never being forgotten. We too are beings of sediment. Our thoughts float, our feelings drift. Not all of them land at once. Some remain suspended, some fall slowly through the years. But eventually, everything settles. And when it does, it doesn't disappear. It forms new ground inside us. Emotions unprocessed are not gone. They just rest, quiet under our personal ocean floor, waiting until we are still enough to feel them again. Not to harm us, but to become part of the cliffs we are becoming. Think of your mind as layered, not flat, not fragile, but richly composed. Just like sedimentary rock, our memories form strata. Neuroscience even uses geological language. We consolidate memories. We layer emotional experience. We compress the details of everyday life until only the most meaningful pieces remain. What is this but sedimentation of identity, of self? And in these layers, not everything is visible. There are forgotten joys, quiet heartbreaks, moments of peace felt too briefly to name, all becoming softened inside the story of who you are. And though you don't feel them daily, they shape the way you rise, the way you age, the way you love. Just like cliffs that began in soft seas, you were built from experiences that surrendered their urgency and became foundation. Sometimes, a life that feels ordinary is simply a life that has settled its layers well, no longer crashing or thrashing, but holding what once moved wildly. Perhaps this is what healing often looks like, not forgetting, but settling, letting what once broke us become part of what supports us. Over time, even pain, softened, can form beautiful stone. Shale, for example, is built from mud, from still water, from depth and lack of speed. And yet, that unassuming rock, dark and soft, holds the fossils of entire ecosystems, preserved precisely because they were not disturbed. Stillness did the work. And you, too, in your stillness, are held together by more than you think. There may be fossils of old dreams resting inside you, pressed into memory, not because they failed, but because they formed layers to support what came next. Sedimentary rocks often appear striped, visible lines of history. Some layers are thick, some paper-thin. Each one tells a story of different conditions, climate shifts, biological changes, even meteor impacts. In short, they reflect not just age, but adaptation. So too your emotional landscape, made not from one enduring state, but from responses to changing environments. The season you felt strong, the one you nearly shattered, the time you drifted, waiting for yourself to return. All of that, still there, in the pattern of you. And maybe we fear falling apart too much. Maybe we think if we break or float aimlessly, we'll never come back to form. But remember, the smallest shells and the lightest silt became the tallest coral cliffs. It is not weakness to be moved. It is only life. The world itself was once water, and look at it now. Standing, rising, holding oceans gently in its arms. So tonight, as your thoughts begin to ease, as your breathing softens, you can let go of every piece of yourself, still floating from the day. Let it drift, let it settle. You don't need to carry everything into sleep. Some things can be laid down at the seafloor of this moment. Let them become part of your next foundation. Let them layer slowly into your strength. There is nothing wrong with not knowing exactly where everything belongs. The earth didn't know either. It simply let things rest and became beautiful with time. Because tiny things, when given rest, can become something remarkable. The cliffs that rise, the stones that shelter, the trails we follow at dawn, they are all evidence that something soft, something small, something seemingly forgotten, was not lost. It just needed time to become. And so do you. Sleep now, soft traveler. Float a little, then fall slowly into your quiet layers. The past will rest where it belongs. The present will rise again with the sun. And in between, the fossils of your feelings, the soft shells of your hopes, the drift of all you've known, will begin to form. Something steady, something strong, something timeless, like oceans turned to stone. Close your eyes if you haven't already, or maybe they've been softly sinking on their own. Draw your breath down into the belly, hold, and then melt into the exhale. Good. Now imagine this, total darkness, not frightening, but calm, deep, safe, like being wrapped in velvet, light years from anything loud. No clock ticks here, no sunrises or schedules, only time, thicker than silence, and a kind of hush that holds rather than swallows. Now imagine that somewhere in that darkness, something small is beginning. Invisible, exquisite, a shape, a spark, a structure, starting to form. This is how crystals are born. Most of what we grow familiar with comes from light. Plants reach for the sun. Humans grow from food and warmth and visibility. But crystals, they begin in the shadow. Beneath mountains, beneath oceans, beneath everything. They grow where pressure, not light, is the sculptor. Where heat, not comfort, is the catalyst. And they grow slowly. Sometimes over centuries. Sometimes over entire geological epochs, forming from atoms that arrange themselves again and again into perfect repeating patterns, into symmetry, into something beyond ordinary rock. Where chaos was, order emerges, delicate, durable, and dazzling. And this is why we love them, because crystals are proof that beauty can rise from inside the hardest places, somewhere deep in the earth, far below the surface where softness dwells. A crystal is growing right now, without eyes to witness it, without needing to be seen. Perhaps it is a droplet of quartz, forming in a hollow of volcanic ash, shaped by the slow cooling of silica-rich water, seeping through stone. Or maybe it is a garnet, birthstone of transformation, building its geometric soul, inside compressed shale. Or deeper still, a diamond, the most famous child of darkness, wrought in the unthinkable heat and squeeze of the upper mantle, some 100 miles beneath the walking world. No one sees it, and yet it shines all the same. Isn't there something in that echoes something in us? You too have grown in darkness. Some of the most meaningful parts of you were not forged in safety. They came from inner heat, from emotional compression, from pressure you wouldn't have chosen, but survived. The mind, like the crust of the earth, reshapes itself in response. In neurology, they call it neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize, adapt, to lay new paths where the old ones have fractured, to build bridges across damaged terrain, and form new ways of being. After loss, after injury, even after trauma. You see, your brain, your soft electricity-spun self, is not a static sculpture. It's more like crystal lattice, always arranging, rearranging, responding to experience, without needing permission. And just like within a geode, where dull rock breaks to reveal magnificence within, sometimes your deepest beauty requires a fracture to be seen. This isn't romanticizing pain. This is honoring survival. Not every crystal becomes a jewel, but every one is a record of having endured something and responded with structure instead of collapse. Let's take a slow journey now through different kinds of crystals and what stories they whisper in the dark. Quartz is the most common mineral on Earth. It grows in so many forms: clear, rose, smoky, amethyst. Each variation a different trace of chemistry, temperature, or trace elements in its environment. It doesn't need rare conditions to form, but it does need time. Lots of it. And when quartz grows, it does so by organizing chaos. Atoms drawn into patterned bonds, a lattice of unity rising from fluid disorder. Isn't that something the heart does too? When we've been through hurt, when our thoughts spin in confusion, eventually we start to make meaning. We find patterns in pain, shape where there was mess. This does not have to happen quickly. Just like quartz, you are allowed to take all the time you need to settle into form. Garnet, deep red like blood, sometimes green like forest, forms under heat and pressure, within metamorphic rocks. It is a stone of change. Geologists find garnet, not where everything has been preserved, but where transformation has occurred, where one rock becomes another, shale to schist, limestone to marble, and garnet is the gift that transformation leaves behind. So, dear one, if you have changed, and especially if you've changed under stress, you too may have garnets in your story. Small, deep, radiant markers that say, I was under pressure, and I became. Now let us speak of diamond. More than a symbol, more than a stone, a diamond begins deep underground, in the mantle, where carbon is pressed by unimaginable force and seared by high heat. It does not become a diamond in days. It does not shine in its birthplace, and it does not travel gently to the world above. Volcanic eruptions, brief, rare, and ferocious, carry diamonds from darkness to daylight. They rise riding columns of molten rock, called kimberlite pipes, shot up through narrow chimneys too fast to melt. And even then, they are hidden, encased, imperfect. It takes polish, time, and care for them to reveal their clarity. Sound familiar? Some pain must erupt before it can be seen, before it can be named, before it can heal. And even then, you might feel rough around the edges, but you are still a diamond. Not becoming, or ready. Crystals remind us, not all beauty is delicate. Some of it is durable, sharp-edged, born of symmetry discovered beneath pressure. This is the paradox of resilience. It isn't soft passivity, it's structure that withstands change. Scientifically, each crystal has its own shape, defined by its internal symmetry. Some are cubic, some trigonal, some hexagonal. They express mathematical truths. In the silence of stone, and deep inside your brain, there is symmetry too, not perfect, but patterned. When you learn something new, when you heal, your brain doesn't forget the old shape. It overlays the new. The past doesn't vanish, but we crystallize new meaning around it. You don't have to know how it works for it to be working. Just like a crystal doesn't try to form, it simply lets the elements settle into pattern when the conditions are right. And so do we. Give yourself permission not to know the answers yet, to let pressure change you, to let darkness be quiet rather than fearful. You do not have to shine all the time. Crystals don't. They grow unseen. And when they are ready, they catch the light. So tonight, if you are holding pressure, let this truth settle into you. Pressure doesn't always destroy. Sometimes it creates beauty of the highest order. And darkness is not the opposite of growth. It is the partner of becoming. Now let go. Feel yourself lower, deeper into the soft weight of your body. Feel warmth, not heat, but comfort, gathering around your chest. You are being reshaped. Not broke. The heat you've carried, it's working something inside you. The weight of the world, it may be squeezing out the diamond that lived there all along. No rush, no noise, just time. And the deep process of emerging, of arranging, of becoming whole. There may be a geode inside your life right now, a solid-looking exterior, that you haven't cracked open yet. But someday, with a little shift, you'll find the shimmer. You'll find that something had been growing all along, in darkness, in silence, in secret. Rest now, little crystal in formation. The day has placed its pressure. Now let sleep do the soft work of arranging atoms, of growing grace, of letting inner structure reveal itself slowly. Even deep in sleep, you are still forming. And this darkness you're in, it's not an absence, it's incubation. Good night, heart under pressure. Good night, diamond in the dark. You are safe now, held gently, in a world still turning. Shine when you're ready. Settle in now, sweet soul. Let the noise of the world unwrap itself from your shoulders. Feel the hush around you. Feel how it cradles, how it doesn't just mean absence, but presence of something softer. This is not just silence you're hearing, it's the space where music begins. The earth is not quiet. Even now, as the moon rests in its shadowed orbit and oceans harness the dialect of tides, there is sound beneath your feet. Not the sound of traffic or thunder, but a subtler song. A current, a hum, a geologic lullaby. We don't often think of the earth as musical. We think of it as solid, silent, still. But the truth is, even in stillness, the earth is singing. Deep under the crust, under the rivers and roots, sound is always moving. Some sounds travel faster than sight, some too slow for ears to feel, some too deep for humans to ever hear. Yet they move through stone as surely as wind passes through leaves. These are seismic waves, messages the earth sends to itself, rippling through its body, telling silent stories of pressure, release, and renewal, like heartbeats in the bedrock. Some are sharp and swift, called P waves, primary waves. They travel fast, compressing and expanding rock, like breath moving through a sleeping chest. Others are slower, gentler, the S waves or secondary. They arrive after, like echoes, like emotion rising, after the moment has passed. Scientists use special instruments called seismometers to listen for these subterranean voices. They anchor them to the ground and wait. With each tremor, they decode the frequency, the duration, the amplitude, a vocabulary written in vibration. By tracking how long these waves take to arrive, from one point to another, they draw maps of the Earth's hidden layers, its mantle, its core, its faults and flows, like doctors putting a stethoscope to the chest of a planet. And what they've discovered is a miracle of music. The Earth is always humming. It's called the seismic hum, an ongoing low-frequency vibration emitted by the Earth itself, even when no earthquake is present. Global, continuous, unheard by our ears, but measurable, somewhere out there, right now. The Earth is singing a note so deep, you'd need to slow time to feel it. Scientists believe this quiet song comes from ocean waves, from the way pressure moves through the sea. and gently taps the ocean floor. Others whisper theories of atmospheric winds, of waves bouncing within Earth's crust, like voices in an ancient cathedral made of stone. But maybe, just maybe, it's the sound of the Earth being alive. And now, as we cross gently through this dream space, let's talk about resonance. In physics, resonance is the phenomenon where, when something vibrates, it can cause another object nearby of a similar frequency to begin vibrating too. A tuning fork sings, and another tuning fork across the table rings in reply. A voice hits just the right note and shatters glass. A wave crashes in the Pacific, and a stone deep in the Himalayas feels a heartbeat not its own. Resonance is connection. It is response. It is proof that even when unseen or uninvited, we affect each other. And just as the Earth resonates, so do we. Your body is a vessel of vibration, from the cellular rhythm of repair to the subtle buzz of a neuron spark. Even your thoughts are patterns of electricity, tiny pulses of charge. And every emotion you feel, grief, joy, awe, longing, has its own emotional frequency. You know it already. How some people vibe with you without trying. How music can make your skin buzz. How certain places feel heavy, as if echoing forgotten songs. This isn't magic, it's resonance, tuning forks of the soul, calling out, and sometimes being met. You may have experienced emotional resonance, those moments when you cry not because something hurt you, but because it reminded you of something you didn't know was still inside. It's like a chord being struck, a familiar vibration inside your chest, answering to the world's song. And just as Earth sings without words, you too hum in your essence, not always out loud, but through connection. Love, grief, stillness, wonder. In the quietest moments, walking in a wide field, sitting near the sea, or lying down right now, you can sometimes feel that resonance. It's not the kind of feeling you name. It's the kind you remember. Somewhere in the marrow, you remember being stardust, being ocean, being inside the Earth. Because you were. Every atom in your body has traveled from volcano, from mineral and mountain, from ancient light, and it remembers. You resonate because you belong. There is an entire field in science called acoustics, the study of how sound moves through matter. And one of its most poetic discoveries is this: sound does not need air, it just needs connection. A solid, a medium. Earth listens through stone, it sings through friction, and echoes in even the quietest collapse of glacier or cliff. So maybe, when you feel silence tonight, you are not hearing nothing. You are simply tuned in to a deeper register. The frequency of presence, of place, of peace. You are not separate from this. You too are vibrational. Inside your brain, networks of neurons build bridges from thought to thought and fire in sequenced pulses, syncing, adjusting, learning. This is how healing happens. Through reframing, through rewiring, through resonance. It's why we seek others who feel like home. It's why music can shift your state of being. It's why a single word, spoken truly, can echo in your soul for a lifetime. You tune in, you absorb, you resonate. And what of the silence? What of the moments where nothing sings? Those are not empty. They are the rest between notes, the low vibration. We feel more than hear, the pause that makes the music matter. In geology, pressure builds in silence. Plates drift for centuries, their energy stored. Then, yes, one day, a quake, a release, a transformation, but it begins in silence. Like reflection, like growth, like forgiveness. So as you lie here now, wrapped in blankets and breath, think of all the silent songs surrounding you, the tree outside humming in wind, the ground beneath setting a frequency millennia old, the quiet in your chest, where something softer than a heartbeat waits, to be remembered. Even if you can't hear it, you are part of the music. And perhaps tonight, you are not seeking sound, but a space to harmonize. Let go now. Let your spine soften into gravity. Let your ribcage float like a leaf on dark water. You don't have to do anything. You are already tuned in. Your breath, your body, your presence, they hum the song of self. And it is enough. Remember, even the earth's stillness carries vibration. Even silence can be song. Even within the quietest moment, there is a frequency that says, you belong here. You are part of something large and ancient and kind. You are not out of tune. You are not too late to the music. You are inside the orchestra at this very moment. So sleep now, listener of deep things. Let your thoughts ripple out, like undisturbed waves on a still lake. Let the day's static fall away. You've done enough. Now let the silence rise. Around you, feel the hum beneath the world. Feel the hum. Inside you. You are not alone in this hush. You are part of the earth's slow, sacred song. And it will carry you through the night. Good night, gentle listener. Good night, quiet song. You're in tune now. Let go, and let the silence sing you home. You are not unchanging, but you are not weak. You are rock and river, grief and crystal, song and silence. Tonight, you have wandered through time that doesn't hurry. Geological time, a time that teaches us that beauty forms across lifetimes, that landscapes remember, and that deep growth begins not with effort, but with stillness. Somewhere inside you, crystal is blooming, soft sands are layering. The mountain, slow and invisible, is still rising. Let that truth hold you as you drift. Let your breath settle like sediment. Let your thoughts glide like silt to the sea. Sleep is not the end of the day. It is a continuation of the earth's slow turning. And you, resting now beneath stars and sky, you are part of that turn, part of that music, safe in the womb of stone, held by the hush of time. Good night, traveler of time. You are home. If this story brought softness to your night, if it helped you exhale the weight of the day, we'd be honored if you'd leave a light behind. A like, a comment, a gentle share, so others wandering through the dark might find this moment of quiet too. Subscribe to Science of Sleep for more poetic journeys into the mind, the earth, and everything in between. Because every week, we tell truth like a lullaby for the curious, the tired, and the quietly healing. You don't have to stay awake to be part of it. We'll be here whenever you need to drift back into wonder.